Hey everyone, it's Anthony Kim, and if I told you the one thing that's keeping your tutoring business stuck and plateaued, would you want to know what it is? Because understanding this single thing and having preventative measures around it has helped the largest tutoring businesses grow to where they are. Over the next few minutes, I'm just going to cover exactly what the problem is that keeps your business stuck, the implications, as well as the solutions. Let's jump in. Now, this is the entire problem and solution at a high level. So the reality is tutoring companies don't plateau because they're bad at teaching. As a matter of fact, you probably have an impeccable service, your teaching's amazing, you come from a high academic background, and you're able to convey that to your students. But you plateau and you get stuck because your business runs on hope instead of control. Hope essentially means you're not actively seeking ways and you don't have a system in place to bring your ideal clients to you or for you to appear in front of your ideal client. You think, I hope referrals come in this month without having a system in place to actually ask or incentivize your existing customers for them. You think, I hope inquiries pick up next term, but you're not actually directing traffic towards your funnel or your website or your business as a whole. And you think, I hope this vague Facebook post does well, despite posting it in a tutoring directory with 50,000 other tutors and competitors, posting the exact same message in front of the exact same people, without a clear ICP or without a clear target audience. On the flip side, control essentially means that you have a system in place where you're able to bring your target audience to you and that directs them towards you. So we have an acquisition system is what we call it. Now, what control looks like is you'll be thinking, I know roughly how many leads come in each week, each month, each term, each semester, each year. I can predict enrollments every term. So you have the metrics in place, you have the numbers, you have the predictable figures, and you know which lever to pull if the numbers dip in any way. So for the most successful businesses, they're doing forms of outreach, they're doing forms of content, and they're doing forms of maybe paid ads, right? And if the numbers dip than what they need it to be, they know exactly what they need to do, the single input they need to do to get those numbers back up to where they want it to be. And in that case, you're able to also scale reliably. This problem, it applies to tutoring companies at any stage. Let's take the $5,000 a month owner. They're probably an owner tutor, so they're doing their classes. They might also have one or a couple of casual tutors on board as well, but you have no real experience in marketing, and your growth relies on referrals or the occasional inquiry from that form on your website. Now, the $10,000 a month tutoring team, you have a small team, but your enrollments are largely unpredictable. When a student or a couple of students drop out or they end their service, you're scrambling to get that gap fixed. Marketing is inconsistent and it's very reactive. You're reacting to what's happening to your customers and the inquiries that are coming in. At $50,000 or $30,000 a month, your team is in place. You probably have some great results and case studies, testimonials. People are talking about you, but the marketing feels expensive. It feels slow and stressful, and more growth feels too risky. Now, let me tell you, all of these problems and all of these things you see at every stage that keep the tutoring company stuck, it really all comes down to not having enough leads. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand here. Not having enough leads doesn't mean not having enough students. You might be at max capacity, but let me kind of explain this with an analogy. So if we take a full restaurant, just because they're full for the day or they're booked out for the week doesn't mean they don't want people talking about them or walking past their restaurant or looking for bookings in advance or sending inquiries in. Similarly, if we take a clothing brand that has a sold out collection, they still want people talking about their brands, talking about their products, posting on social media about their clothes. It's the same exact system for tutoring companies. Just because you're at max capacity, you might have a waiting list and parents looking to join your service, you still want more leads. So what does not having enough leads actually look like? Well, at the moment, your calendar or one of your team's calendars might look something like this, where you have classes, you have the odd inquiry and the phone call here and there, but it's not really a system or process, and it's not predictable. More leads essentially change how you operate as a business owner. You need to build a predictable system that brings you leverage that enables you to scale better. What does having this problem mean and look like? Well, because you don't have enough leads, you feel stuck and helpless. You spend so much time working without growing. You hope your clients get you referrals, and you don't get any closer to your goals. This is the boulder of Sisyphus. As a result, it manifests in your business and not being able to charge higher prices, appearing needy on sales calls and conversations, over-delivering because referrals are the only way you get customers, so you need to make sure every single client you have the best possible product, but you over-deliver. It's unnecessary for where they need to be, and you're not being able to scale. Everything depends on you. Having more leads solves quite literally every single problem imaginable in your business. You can charge higher prices without desperation on your calls. So if you have scarce leads where you only have one appointment currently in the calendar, you sell from fear because you're worried, what if I don't get an inquiry next semester or next week? I really need to close this deal, and you start acting desperate. You start really needing their purchase and their buy-in, and you become desperate and you start begging. On the flip side, if you have abundant leads where you have people coming, looking in your business, you get to sell by choice. You get to choose the students you want to work with and can actually help, which ultimately drives better client success. You're also less busy and more profitable. You're able to become less busy, take on less classes, increase revenue, become more profitable, hire more people, and as a result, you'll have more time on your hands to work on the business and not in the business. And lastly, you'll have a proper acquisition system to actually scale. Scaling is great, right? You get to amplify the good in your business. Let's say you have a good appointment system, you have a good service delivery system, and you have all of these good factors in your business. Scaling means you amplify that in multitudes. But at the same time, scaling also takes the bad things and the negative things and the poor metrics in your business and amplifies that as well. Now let's imagine you have a submarine, you have a boat, and you have a small hole in that boat. Your boat's rowing okay, it's going well, but that small hole is putting in water in your business every now and then. Now, scaling looks like taking this boat and making it bigger. Not only do you get to go further, but at the same time, the hole gets bigger as well. And so more of that water flows in and you will sink faster, essentially. So by having more leads, you're able to charge higher prices without desperation. You get to work with people you can actually help. You are less busy and more profitable, so you have more time on your hands, and you actually have a proper system to scale properly. Now, this begs the question, how do we actually get more leads? Well, let me tell you, there are only 3 real ways tutoring businesses acquire students. Every student you've ever had came from attention. The keyword is attention. Now, you either borrowed attention, you bought attention, or you built attention. So let's talk about borrowed attention. Borrowed attention essentially means you're taking the audience that you don't own. So it might be somebody else's audience that they built up. It might be the audience of a local community, and you're borrowing it in the form of a small placement or a short time duration. This looks like partnering with schools, local communities, and adjacent businesses to affiliate and partner with. It looks like posts in Facebook groups and directories, the ones we talked about where you're posting in front of 50,000 other tutoring companies and competitors. Newsletters and newspapers, having a small segment in each of those. Or podcasts and interview guest appearances. So appearing in front of somebody else's audience, their channel, their podcast, and as a guest, you're talking about your business in a form of a bit of a promotion. Now, borrowed attention works, and we've seen it work effectively for some tutoring companies. But the thing is, it's supplementary. It's inconsistent, it's unreliable, and you can't always guarantee that you'll get partnerships and guest appearances. So it works, but it's almost always supplementary and not the main form of acquisition for your business, and it shouldn't be. We'll move on to bought attention or buying attention. This looks like similar to borrowed attention, except you're paying for it. You're either paying for ads in the form of social media placements like Meta, YouTube, Google. It might look like sponsorships. So you're sponsoring local schools, you're sponsoring dance schools, etc. It might look like physical signages and flyers. If done well, these work. Most tutoring companies don't do it well. And it might also look like paid placements like in the ATA or other website forums where they place your logo, your website on theirs. Now, bought attention works really well. It's scalable. It's expensive though. You have to actually have the budget allocated for this marketing endeavor. And also you really need a validated offer to make bought attention work well. So the small tutoring companies stuck at the $5,000, $10,000 a month mark with a offer that's not fully validated in the market, that doesn't fully resonate, it won't work. That's the reality of bought attention. Paid ads, you need the budget, but you also need a strong offer. And so when you're just starting out, it's not the best method. Borrowed attention and the next form of attention is much better. So let's go on to built attention. And the reason why I have these stars here is because built attention is undoubtedly the best form of attention. And we'll talk about why. Built attention looks like posting content on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Red Notes, etc. It looks like email lists and SMS campaigns. So you might have a newsletter, you might have a list of past or existing customers that you get to reach out to in the form of email lists and SMS. Lead generation events. So it's an umbrella term that entails mock exams, it entails webinars, it entails events that you actually own, cater, and operate. Database reactivation. So very similar to email lists and SMS campaigns, database reactivation is an underrated and underutilized form of built attention, where you take your list of existing and past customers and essentially send out a short offer to bring them back into the business. Or it could be their younger siblings, it could be their family, friends, essentially bringing them back with a new special offer. Lead magnets. Lead magnets are also super effective. They're a bit of an umbrella term also that entails, free trials, free resources, ebooks. It could be free training, courses. Lead magnets are great because they actually provide free value in exchange for a bit of their attention. Now, built attention is probably a bit slow. Now, it's not always slow, but in general, you expect it to work in the long term. But it's permanent. The reality is, for tutoring businesses, all of these can and they should work together. All leaning on one form of attention kind of leaves you with blind spots and gaps. You should make sure you can make all of them work together, but at the same time, you should prioritize the one that gives you the most leverage. And we define leverage as less input for more output. You put in less time and effort, but for a larger return. And we can conclude that built attention gives you the most leverage. And the reason why is because A, you own the audience. B, you can build brand authority and trust. So brand essentially means they know who you are and they come back to you because of what you stand for, your vision, your values, and as well as the positioning compared to your competitors. C, it acts as a multiplier for other forms of attention. So if you have built attention with a strong brand presence, you're posting content regularly, you have a lot of these systems already in place, then it makes borrowed attention way easier. You get to partner with schools with a more guaranteed approach. You get to probably appear on podcasts and interviews easier because you have that backing and you have that audience. And paid attention gets much easier as well because you have an audience already, and Meta, YouTube, Google understands that, and sponsorships become much easier as well. People have already heard of you, you have more touch points that the leads can come back to. Furthermore, it decreases the dependency. By having built attention, you don't have to rely on borrowed attention, you don't have to rely on paid attention, honestly at all. With built attention, with content, when it rains, it really pours. So the thing about bought attention and borrowed attention is that the moment you stop paying or the moment you stop appearing, things die down. With borrowed attention, you're literally competing with other competitors. And so if you don't regularly post or you don't regularly appear, it just doesn't work. And the same thing with bought attention. But with built attention, you don't need to depend on these things, and you get to maintain that audience and maintain that value you've already provided. It doesn't disappear. And also it compounds. The thing with content is that the first video might get a certain number of views, the second video might get another, but as a whole, content compounds. That's the beauty of content. Every tutoring company we've seen scale past their plateaus and go past their stuck points, they've all implemented control in the form of attention. They've implemented processes and systems in place to get leads and to get new customers, whether that be in the form of borrowed, bought, or built attention. Built attention is the one they lean into the most to get the most results, but all of those should and can work together. Another thing about built attention is that posting is free. Posting on social media is free. Email lists and SMS campaigns you can do for free. Lead gen events you can operate for free. It's just a Zoom call. Database reactivation for free. Lead magnets you can build for free. It's quite literally the most effective and gives you the most leverage. So if you take one thing out of this entire video, it's to understand the importance of attention and having control, but also to understand that you should start posting content and you should start posting in order to build your attention and your brand. If you have videos out there, you have a channel out there, you have proof that you actually know what you're talking about online, who do you think you're lead will go to? You or your competitor that just has a website and form online? They'll most likely go to you, assuming you're in the same area, you operate and provide the same service. So start building, start posting content, because busy is not the same as growing. Just because you have so much time on your hand doesn't mean you're actually growing, you're not increasing your revenue numbers, you're not more profitable. So start doing the things that actually matter, and oftentimes posting content is going to be the best lever you can pull to make sure you can go to where you want to be. It's the biggest needle mover. Now, in a future video, I'll be talking about exactly how to go about building your attention, how to post content effectively, how to build brand authority and trust, and how to do all of these things like database reactivation, lead generation events, email list and SMS campaigns. So look forward to that one. Other than that, that's been everything. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.